there was a lot for me, and this was really my intention, and I think I did get this out of it. Unpacking a lot of layers and old programming. And we've talked about even this on the podcast with different guests, but releasing shame and guilt and negative self-talk and resentment, and just cutting the cord from old childhood programming that I've had, around anxiety and chaos and never feeling good enough or smart enough. And how that impacts me as a person, as a wife, as a mother, as, an entrepreneur, as a health coach within my business, and really getting to just release that and falling in love with myself.
Hello, and welcome to the Art of Living Well podcast. I'm Stephanie May Potter, and I'm here with my co-host, Marnie Marmet.
We created the Art of Living Well podcast to empower you to live your happiest, healthiest, and most authentic life. Each week, we will bring you inspiring and motivating conversations covering health and wellness topics, including fitness, mindset, food, travel, product reviews, and strategies from a variety of experts, including our own bank of knowledge.
We are excited to educate, motivate, and inspire you to change the way you perceive health and discover your art of living well. Get ready to feel inspired.
Hi, today is so exciting. We are going to talk with my co-host, Stephanie Potter. And it's just really fun to do these episodes where it's just us, and we're going to get to know Stephanie better today and dive deep into what's been going on in her life recently. But before we do that, we want to mention that we have our 14-day functional medicine liver detox starting on January 9th. So that's coming right up.
Yeah, and we're really excited because we've changed the program a bit for January. Typically, we do the 7-day. We're now adding on another week because we realized for many people, January is a great time to really invest in our health. And, a lot of people want to create new habits this time of year. But what we found is, while everyone feels great after 7 days, they sometimes struggle with implementing a lot of the healthy habits and foods that they enjoy during the detox into their life. So we're going to use that second week as a way to add back certain foods while still eating really clean and doing the daily shakes. And then we also have an exciting addition because you're going to get a cookbook, a brand new cookbook that's being released in January by Emily Maxon, who is Emily's Fresh Kitchen on Instagram, and that's her website. And you're going to get to hear from her, and we're going to add, lots of videos and an immunity boosting workshop and so much more.
So head on over to our show notes to sign up, or go over to our website or our Instagram pages. You can pretty much find the detox on all of those links, and we cannot wait to have you join us.
But first, a quick word from our sponsor, Good Health Sauna. It's time to relax, rejuvenate, and renew. Everybody wants to feel better. Everybody wants to be healthy and happy. Good Health Saunas is proud to provide top-of-the-line infrared saunas that deliver the most impactful results for overall health and wellness. Infrared saunas produce penetrating heat to help you sweat and heal your body from the inside. Sweating on a regular basis can help you feel amazing. Numerous studies have been done to show the power of infrared sauna use to help you sweat. Health benefits of regular sauna use may include detoxification, immune system support, muscle repair, chronic pain relief, relaxation, deeper sleep, and so much more.
There are a lot of reasons people buy Good Health Sauna. I just recently bought one at the Minnesota State Fair, and I am loving it so far. From the moment of purchase to the delivery and setup, Good Health Sauna staff have been amazing. They answered all my questions, and they did a fabulous job with the installation. I look forward to my new evening routine where I take a 30 to 40 minute sauna before I shower and go to bed. And I love how relaxed I feel, and more importantly, how I am adding to my overall health and happiness. And best of all, it's a great way to remove toxins from my body daily. Good Health Sauna provides commercial-grade infrared saunas for in-home and commercial use, backed up with the best warranty in the industry, lifetime guarantee, and unmatched customer service. They have 3 stores, one at the Mall of America in Minnesota and 2 in Wisconsin, Appleton and Waukesha. For more information and to purchase online, go check out your special offer at www.goodhealthsaunas.com/theartoflivingwell. So before we dive in, Stephanie, I'm so curious to hear about your Thanksgiving holiday. How did it go? I know your parents were in town and your sister was in town.
Yeah, it was so nice, Marnie. Thanks for asking. So my family, my sister and my parents live in Rochester, New York, which is where I grew up. And it's, a ways from Minneapolis here and not easy to get to right now with the connecting flights. So long story, my parents have not been here in 2 years, and I've only seen my parents once. I made a quick trip home last year before we were in lockdown again. And my sister had not been here in 2 years. So my kids and my husband had not seen my family, and I had barely seen my family. And they came in 2 separate trips over the last couple of weeks. And it was so nice to see them. It's been hard just during this pandemic, not seeing any family. We don't have any family here. And I realized just how much I missed them, especially my sister. We're like 2.5, 3 years apart, and it was a really quick trip and I didn't want her to leave. I was really sad. That was the first time I've ever really cried after she left.
Aww.
And so it was special. And she's a great aunt and just a great person. She's been working a lot. She works in a hospital and a lot of COVID patients. So the last couple of years have been really hard. She hasn't left or gone anywhere. My parents hadn't either. A lot of us, including my family, we've traveled and we're working from home, and she doesn't have that luxury. So it was really nice. It just really amplified the fact how important family is, and just making that effort to spend time with them, even if it's just calling more or on Zoom or doing whatever you can. So yeah, but Thanksgiving dinner was great. And we do the full turkey and all the sides and pumpkin pie and apple crisp and all the good, yummy food. And then my husband makes stock with the turkey, and we make a turkey pozole soup the next day, which we've been doing for years, which is a big tradition. We have that on Friday. So yeah, it was a really nice time. It was a good holiday.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about yours, Marnie? I know you had a lot of family in town too.
Yeah, I also hadn't seen a lot of my extended family for the last 2 years, and my husband's parents, my in-laws, came in town and stayed with us. And we hadn't seen them in the 2 years either. So we had a whirlwind of family for almost an entire week. And there were some of the family that came in were pretty nervous just because of everyone traveling from all different parts of the country. So we ended up doing a lot of rapid tests. My kids, by day 3 of rapid testing, were like, do we have to do this again? But in order to get into the door, so my parents hosted 40 people for Thanksgiving, all family. And in order to get into the door of their home, you had to have a negative COVID test. And that actually, when I first heard about that, I was kind of like, really? But then at the end of the day, it ended up being so nice because nobody wore masks. Everyone let down their guard. And it just felt so normal for those few hours that we were all together. And the food was amazing. Everybody brought things, and my mom made these wonderful turkeys and set beautiful tables. And it was such a fun night and weekend for that matter. I also, like you, realized how much I really missed family, and just you just kind of, it's so relaxing when you're with family. You don't have to think about anything.
Right.
And my son was home from college, and it was a really quick trip for him. He was home on a Monday, back at school on a Friday, because there was the big Michigan, Ohio State football game, which he did not want to miss. So it was great.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that we had such a wonderful week. And so anyway, now we should dive into Stephanie. And the first thing I'm dying to hear about is your reset retreat that you went on in October in Tulum. And I know it was led by one of our past podcast guests, Vanessa Fields.
Files. Yep.
Files, sorry. And I remember when you came to me and you said you were thinking about doing this, I swear it was like maybe a week before the trip, maybe 2 weeks. And I thought you were crazy. Like literally, I was like, you're really going to just jump on a plane and go on a trip like 2 weeks ahead? Because that's so not the way I feel like I can do things. And I was actually feeling very envious as you were telling me about it. But so tell us about it. Share how this all went down and what prompted you to go.
You know, it's funny. I had not thought about it. I knew about the retreat from Vanessa, and I said, no, it's going to conflict with you. And I had a little retreat to go interview the owner of Wild Rice Retreat already scheduled. And our family was going on a fall break the following week. And so I just said, no, the timing doesn't work. And then I get on the phone with Vanessa, who is a wonderful human and an intuitive, and, you know, she's very into meditation and all these things. And she's like, well, but maybe Stephanie, maybe this is, you should just go. You should not let all the programming of, I don't do that. I don't do back-to-back trips like that. I have the mother guilt. Oh, I'm going to be gone from my family. And how are my kids going to, you know, survive while I'm gone. Right. Not that my husband isn't perfectly capable. So I slept on it. I thought about it, and I talked with my husband, and I knew it was going to be a transformative experience. And I had to first get over that hurdle. Like, am I ready? This is going to be hard work. This is not just going and sitting out on a beach all day. This is a retreat. It's a reset retreat. It's meant to be a transformative experience and really to have like an awakening, you know? And so I remember talking to you about it. And I remember you saying like, oh, that's a lot. Like, are you going to be stressed? Because I run, like, that's something that would stress me out, having all those trips, like you said. And then I found out that the only accommodations, so there was a house, and then the other accommodations were tents, and they were luxury tents, but it was a tent, like no bathroom, no running water in the tent, on a beach. And we're not campers. My family we were not campers growing up. We have not camped. I think I camped a couple times in college or high school for a concert, you know, that's sort of it. And I decided that putting myself even further outside my comfort zone was actually exactly what I needed. And so I had to walk to the bathroom and, you know, outside the tent, and we didn't wear shoes anywhere. You like wiped your feet in a little bucket outside your tent before you went inside because your feet were sandy. Anyway, I showered outside, you know, so I just went for it. I just really listened to my intuition and decided this is exactly what I needed. And I did end up having one friend that joined me on the retreat, kind of last minute also. And I'm so glad that I did. I really let go of those programs in my head, telling me what I should or should not do based on, you know, a schedule, and a very like rigid schedule at that. And it was amazing.
And I was just going to say, I remember when you told me about the tents at first, and I was like, you are crazy. Like, you are literally out of your mind. And then once you went on the retreat, you know, they were posting, I don't remember if it was you or the leaders, but they were posting on social media, like all this stuff. And I saw the tent and I was like, oh, I could do that. Like that. They were really nice tents, and it is a tent, right. but it's like, it was like glamping almost, right?
Yes. And it wasn't like I was in the tent all day or anything.
And, you know, as I tried to put myself in your shoes while you were away, I was thinking, okay, this would be really out of my box and a really good challenge, but I think I could do it.
You could totally do it. Anyone could do it. And part of it was it was this very thoughtfully and curated experience to support this awakening process for everyone. And I've never been with basically 8 strangers, I guess. You know, I knew one or two. I knew one of the guides, and I knew my friend who I connected with, each of them. And we were very different and all very similar. And I felt like I was with my people. I felt like I was brought into this very magical space. So it was outside of Tulum, which I had never been. It was, I hope I'm saying this right, the Sian Khan it's like this ecosystem. It's this reserve. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it was just this spiritual place. And you were in nature the entire time. And the food was amazing and very nourishing. It was all, very much planned. And it really allowed us to be vulnerable. And everyone had these like awakening experiences and, tears being shed and lots of, coaching going on, and really being part of the group was powerful, versus even like a one-on-one coaching situation, but really it is part of the group and the group energy. It was amazing. It was really like nothing else I've ever experienced. And I know you've gone on retreats. I have never really gone on a retreat like that.
And I would say, like, of course, every retreat is very different, but the retreats that I have been on, like the yoga retreats, it is such a powerful experience. And it does seem to bring a certain type of person together. And you all have like this common bond, and it's amazing. And it's so cool that something like that can bring strangers together in such a powerful way.
Yes.
And it's like, you may never see the person again, or maybe you'll meet them again somewhere in life 5 years later, 10 years later, but you'll always have that bond.
Absolutely. We're actually trying to plan a reunion. It's just kind of tricky with the holidays right now because everyone is from Minnesota who was on the retreat, which was nice.
So what would you say, like, was your biggest takeaway? Like you came away from this retreat, and what do you feel inside, or like, what did you take home with you?
Yeah. There was a lot for me, and this was really my intention. And I think I did get this out of it. Unpacking a lot of layers and old programming. And we've talked about even this on the podcast with different guests, but releasing shame and guilt and negative self-talk and resentment, and just cutting the cord from old childhood programming that I've had, around anxiety and chaos and never feeling good enough or smart enough. And how that impacts me as a person, as a wife, as a mother, as, an entrepreneur, as a health coach within my business, and really getting to just release that and falling in love with myself. Like, that's not something, I know we talk about self-love on this with guests all the time too, but that's not something, I lacked a lot of confidence for most of my life. And so trying to love myself, because that's really the only way you can put forth love in the world and be of service to others. And so that's just something I've been trying to do for a while. And this retreat really elevated it for me. And to be completely at peace with myself.
So would you say you were able to, so you came home with that, which is amazing. And that is like a lot of unpacking and old programming to undo in the course of a week. Would you say you've been able to maintain that going forward? Now you're like a month out from the retreat. Are you still kind of on that retreat high, or do you notice old patterns kind of coming back up? And if so, how are you able to remind yourself of your experience and get yourself out of that loop, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point, because yes, there was for sure a high for like, a week or two, right? And everything was going so well. And I actually didn't get stressed about going on the trip right after I got home. And then the other one, the work and the family trip. I have to be diligent about my meditation and some of my other like energy clearing practices, and making the time for me, especially right now as we record this. It's after Thanksgiving, in the midst of all the December holidays. And so that's a busy time of year, personally and, work-wise. So it's hard. It's a challenge. It's definitely not perfect. I've definitely not taken forth everything that I said I was going to do and done it. But there are certain things like, just what I realized on this retreat, and this was through some of coaching, is that part of my issue is like wanting to control like certain members of my family, or, keep the house a certain way, or be eating a certain way at home and that sort of thing. And really, when I let go and just let others in my house kind of step in and do what do what they want to do without me intervening, it actually works out sort of better. So like I came home and this example was my husband just like had made dinner and doing all these things, and versus me kind of saying, oh no, I'll do it. Like sometimes I think as moms, and especially for myself, I just want to do it. So it's done the way I want it done. And, I can control what people are doing, and that sort of makes me feel good to a certain extent. But yeah, that's not healthy for my family either, And so I think I'm trying to let them make decisions and make choices on their own, whether it comes to like just simple things like keeping the house clean or, so I'm not feeling like a nag. So that's been, somewhat successful, I guess. Still working on that.
Well, and those are good things to strive toward.
Yeah.
And even just being aware and of that is great.
Yes. And something really simple that we did was just like eating in community, which I love eating with my family, like that to me in a calm manner, not like, oh, we have 10 minutes and got to get out the door. But just taking a moment to express gratitude, like when I was little, we had to say grace before meals, and we don't do that in my house anymore. But just taking a minute to like appreciate who prepared the food, where the food came from, especially we use a lot of local farmers, and just take a pause, because also that helps your digestive system and keep you in the right state so that you're in that calm, parasympathetic state before you eat, right? Mm-hmm. But it also just helps with the whole gratitude practice too. So that's something that we're not perfect at it, but we've been doing it at least a couple days a week. So I like to think over time, hopefully that can grow into a more consistent habit.
And it's such a nice way to start a meal.
Yes. And I think the other thing, just as we wrap this part up, one of the highlights was focusing on what, from an intuition standpoint, but just sort of that inner child within you and what she is trying to tell me. And it was really like play and have fun. And those were like the key messages, and not be so worried about like getting everything done and some of the more masculine programming that I tend to have in the analytical side of your brain, and letting like your kids, like, your kid asks you something, or mom, look at this or look at that. And you're like, oh, but I'm doing 5 things and we have to leave in 10 minutes. And I can't take the time. I'll look at it later, and just try to be like, just be in the moment and just let them show you the way. Because I truly believe that our kids are here. They chose us, and they are here to help guide and teach us and make us better. And so listening to our kids is something that I'm really trying to do more, and not just listening, but like actively listening and process and admit when they tell you something, admit when you're wrong and you could do things better. I think there's a lot of wisdom and insight that we can learn from our children.
Absolutely. I love that. So speaking of children, let's change gears a little bit and talk about your experience with your 13-year-old daughter. I know that you've started to share a little bit more about what's been going on with her well-being over the past, 6 to 12 months, but I would love to hear whatever you're comfortable sharing, of course, with our listeners. What is going on with your daughter, and what prompted you to then get help for her?
Yeah. So it was, honestly, the year of COVID and homeschooling was rough on a lot of kids, right? And she went through puberty during that time, and she's spending a lot of time in her room. And I just noticed, honestly, her spark, her fire, her personality was almost gone. Just if you think about a dimmer switch, it used to be way up here, the full light was on, and now it was like hovering. There was barely any light within her. And so her normal personality traits and energy level wasn't there. But you kind of chalk it up to all this stuff going on, right, with the pandemic. And I did a lot of talking, to you and lots of other friends with moms with girls. And some of it, I think, is just middle school and social and friends and all that stuff. But my hunch was that it was something more. And so after a while, I had lots of sleepless nights, let's put it that way, thinking about her and being really sad. Like, what is going on? She wouldn't talk. She wouldn't say anything. But you'd ask her a question and everything was, I don't know. I don't care. It was just like, what is going on? Where's my daughter? It was really hard. It was sad. And finally, I think it was in June, and I was trying to find a therapist for her. I was trying to find all these different potential people. And I actually got connected with a woman through Vanessa Files, who we did the retreat with, to a woman who's considered a gifted medical intuitive and naturopath, and she's locally in Minneapolis. And I was like, great, I'll go see her. I didn't know what to expect. She doesn't even have a website. She has like a Facebook page, a physical brick and mortar store, and a phone number. So I couldn't do a lot of even research on the woman, but I went, booked an appointment, brought her there. And you have to have a lot of faith when you go to see someone like that. You're not seeing a doctor, you're not getting blood tests done or anything like that. But she basically told us that Caroline's body is like fighting a virus, basically. Like she is so nutrient deficient. She probably has a sluggish thyroid. She's deficient in, iodine and chromium and vitamin D and magnesium and all these different, gut health issues. So she put Caroline on a bunch of supplements.
So quick question, backing up quickly. How did she know that Caroline was deficient in all of those things?
She's an intuitive and she can ask your body questions. And I know for a lot of people listening, that can be considered a little out there, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have seen lots of different healers and acupuncturists and alternative people. And for me, I was like, you know what, for a small cost of the 2-hour session we were with her, it was worth it. And I just had a good feeling. Like that's where, I like science. Absolutely. I like data and facts, and I'll get to what I've been done after, but it just felt right to me. I was like, all the supplements. I mean, you and I are familiar with lots of supplements. So I knew the brands, they were all very reputable, high-end brands that she carries. And I was like, well, what's kind of the worst that can happen? We're taking vitamin D, like high doses, very high doses of vitamin D. So we went back after 3 weeks, and I had already noticed within 3 weeks an improvement in her energy and her mood.
So amazing.
And Jean, the woman said she noticed too. And then she gave us a couple other things. So we started with maybe 5 supplements and we've worked our way up. I mean, she's probably taking close to 10 right now. And this has been going on since mid-June. But I noticed a difference. So then Caroline went to camp. She was gone for 3.5 weeks. She took all the supplements at camp, which was great because they helped administer that. So I didn't have to worry about her forgetting. She came back. We went and saw Jean right away. And Jean asked her, and Caroline said, this is a 13-year-old. I noticed a difference. I feel better. I have more energy. Her smile was back. I mean, it was like I had my daughter back again, Sorry, this just getting a little emotional here. So we've continued. I mean, she is still on this supplement protocol. I will say, kind of rewind back, the first day I took her, I was like, okay, this is great. Let's put you on a bunch of supplements. But I wanted a little bit, I wanted some testing. So you and I, as integrative health practitioners, can run this hair tissue mineral analysis. So I took a sample of her hair that same day. So the very first day, she even started the supplements and mailed that back. I got the results back when she was at camp, I think. Everything was very consistent with what Jean, this intuitive naturopathic healer, told me.
Amazing.
I mean, red flags, like sluggish thyroid, probably some blood sugar imbalances, lots of magnesium, lots of mineral deficiencies, and the ratios that are really important when you do this report are off.
I'm really curious.
Adrenal fatigue, like all sorts of things for a 13-year-old, which is shocking for someone at such a young age.
Right. Who eats a fairly healthy diet too, right?
I mean, she's a teenager. So yes, we have good food
in your home. Your home is a healthy home though.
Yeah.
So what I'm curious about is, how did you get her to do this? Like, was she like, oh my gosh, this lady's a quack? Or like, what was her response?
Jean likes to talk. So like, yes, after an hour, she's nudging me like, Mom, can we get out of here?
Yeah.
She took all the supplements. That girl is a rock star. I have to remind her, and then she chugs. I mean, there are adults that can't swallow pills, right?
I'm one of them.
She's taking 10 different things. She prefers the pills over the liquids because like some of the liquids like don't taste so good, right?
Yeah.
She just does it. And she wanted like organizer. We have one of those little pill organizers for her. She fills them all up herself. She knows exactly what she needs to take.
Amazing.
I mean, I do have to remind her there's a couple that she doesn't love to take. But let me tell you, I know adults that can't take supplements, and somehow she does it. And I think honestly, Marnie, it's when you start to feel the benefit and you know what you're doing is helping you. That's the motivation to keep going.
So would you say, so this started, you said in like May, June?
Well, we started the supplements in mid-June, but I mean, her behavior had been months and months of sort of a downward.
So would you say she's completely back to what you would expect her to be?
For the most part, yes.
That's
not
amazing.
entirely. So we actually went and got blood work taken at the pediatrician because I am concerned about the thyroid. That's my gut. And we're awaiting those results back. So, more to come on that. I think.
But what about her spirit, I guess? Her
spirit is much better. I mean, my husband comments on it. My mother-in-law was here commenting on it. So a lot of it is back. I mean, at least 80%.
Well, good job to you. I mean, seriously, like, I think parents out there don't know what to do when they're in these types of situations, or they just say, oh, therapy or meds and, out you go. And so I admire how you really found a person that could help her and were able to think outside the box and think about using supplements and other tools, testing to help her rebalance her body. Because that's really what you're doing, right? Is rebalancing, the vitamins and minerals and everything going on inside her body.
Absolutely. And I think thankfully, because of my background and because of this podcast, it's opened me up to alternative ways of treatment. There's not one size fits all. And I encourage parents out there for themselves and or their kids, challenge the status quo a little bit. Think outside the traditional Western medical system. And we need that. Yes. But there are so many other ways to balance the body, heal the body, and help so that, in 5-10 years, hopefully she doesn't have a more severe or any sort of chronic illness out there, right? And addressing that sooner rather than later. And it's something as simple as a high quality supplement can do that. I mean,
absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely. So, for parents out there that are noticing similar things, what would you say they should do? Like, do you recommend they contact, I think you said Jean, or like, what would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I think first it's trusting your intuition. And we talk about this a lot, right? So I think you have to quiet your mind. Yes, it's good to go on Google and talk to people, but there's also a lot of noise out there. One person telling you this, one person telling you that. Don't just take like the first answer someone gives you as the gospel, for one. I think really advocating for your child when something's not right, don't just assume that they need a pill necessarily, or just therapy is great. I'm all for that. I think for us, it was like it's like anything else. It's a holistic view. You don't just need one approach sometimes. So being open to trying different things, just having like an open mind, curiosity, exploring, find someone locally or wherever you are, ask around. There's different Facebook groups out there for different types, and, ask the question, find a more holistic or a functional or integrative practitioner. It doesn't even need to be a doctor, right? Obviously, if you live locally and you want to reach out, her name's Jean O'Hearn, and she's with Nature's Wisdom is her business name, to find her and book an appointment with her. And I think be open-minded and take a holistic view for health.
And I think that's great advice. Also, if, you're listening to this podcast right now and you're having your own issues personally, it's not just about our kids, right?
Absolutely.
Same advice for your own personal well-being.
Yes.
So, Stephanie, as we are closing out the year, I'm wondering, what are you wishing for most in 2022?
Such a good question. for me, there's this theme that I've recognized recently in my life, and it's peace. It's peacefulness, and it starts with myself. I've been on this journey to be at peace with myself for a long time. And I really think then that translates to bringing forth peace to others, my immediate family, and it calms the chaos that's been part of my life for a very long time, starting with childhood, and then peace for everyone. I think we need more of it in this world. And I'm really, I'm hopeful that the opposites that we're having, and just I just feel like right now in our country and our world, it's just extremes on either side, and we're not really listening and talking to each other, because I think we all really want the same thing. And I just think the world in general needs more peace, but it honestly has to start with yourself. So finding peace within yourself so that you can project that onto others and have a ripple effect for the world.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And what a wonderful wish for 2022. So I wish you peace.
Thank you.
Anyway, so this was so fun chatting with you today. I loved hearing about your retreat experience. I hope to do something like that someday soon. I don't know when, but at some point.
Yes.
And I also thank you for sharing your experience with your daughter, because I think that the more that we share our own personal experiences, the more, like you said, the ripple effect, maybe it'll help someone else. And even if it helps one other person out there, that's what an amazing gift. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It feels good to share and talk about these things, right?
Yeah. So anyway, have a great day.
Thank you. And Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes. Happy, healthy New Year.
Yes. With lots of peace and joy. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art of Living Well podcast. We are so grateful that you joined us today.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or anyone else you think may benefit from this information. We'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and tag the Art of Living Well podcast on social media.
If you want more inspiration in between episodes, you can find us on social media at theartofliving_well on Instagram and Facebook, where we will share snippets from our daily lives and our journey to living well.